check this out. This is power plant induced or power plant created snow. This is from the Portage, Wisconsin power plant. When conditions are just right, we can get this type of phenomenon happening, specifically with coal-fired power plants. Take a look at this snow line that develops again in Portage, Wisconsin, moves to the southeast, almost making it all the way down to the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. So what is going on here? Let's talk about this because the science here is rather fascinating. First, we have to talk about supercooled water. So let me explain what that is. In this case, we had low stratus clouds in place. Those are the clouds that kind of look like blankets that blanket across the sky. Well, if those clouds are thin enough, meaning they're not thick enough to create ice, the water inside the clouds, it will stay as liquid water even at temperatures below freezing. That's a wild concept to think about, right? So supercooled water are liquid water droplets in the clouds where we are below freezing. Now, you add these particles, specifically known as fly ash, that is emitted from these coal power plants. That goes into the clouds, and it serves as a nuclei to create ice. So in the form of supercooled water, that fly ash would interact with those water droplets and convert it into ice, serve as a nuclei for which that supercooled water would freeze and turn to ice. And then once you have the ice, well then those clouds create snow. Now there's another process here as well, kind of getting into the weeds of the science. You can also have that fly ash help to create supercooled water and the ice both sort of at the same time as well. But again, regardless, it serves as a nuclei to create ice. And then that is what creates the snow. So then we look at the wind. And in this case, the wind was blowing northwest to southeast. And we can tell that, of course, well, not only by looking at atmospheric soundings and what's going on in the atmosphere, but you could just look at the radar and see that, right? That it was extending to the southeast. So what was happening is when they turned this coal-fired power plant on, that fly ash was going into those stratus clouds and it was creating ice, which in turn created snow, and then it was blowing downwind and blowing to the southeast, creating a radar, pretty fascinating, that looked like this. And if you get caught sometimes under this snow band, it can create a little bit of snow accumulation. You might get a couple of inches out of this, which is pretty wild. And then watching this that night when the power plant was shut off, any guesses as to what happened? You guessed it, the snow disappeared.